And welcome to Conservatives Talk.
And so I'm just going to be honest. There's been a lot going on, and y'all have basically just pissed us off. So, Justin, here's your doubloon.
Arg, matey.
Because it's time to get some real pirate stuff done.
And so, welcome to our very special edition of Conservative Talk, and that we have rightly named
What grinds?
What grinds my gears.
Yeah. So, like I led with, there's been a lot going on in the political realm, and there's been a lot of things that you all have come to us with that have just ticked us off. So instead of actually trying to do separate segments or continue to handle this passive aggressively like I usually do, we're going to do it live on air with you all, and we're going to explain some evidence that we've found, some things that we've discovered, and basically just tell you how it really is.
Yeah, we're going to try and keep this a little bit on the brief side. When I say brief side, some of y'all have sat through some of our shows, and they can get a little lengthy. But we're going to start on the local level and try and work our way to the national level, but may have to stop short of the national level on the way there, because some of this does deserve a unique sense of attention, especially on the local level.
A closer look. So let's jump right into it.
How about it? So first off, let's take a look at our dear friend, our mayor, Sunday Alexis Strickland Stevenson.
Oh man. And I received an email today about a certain letter that wasn't going to move forward because there was no real investigation to look into it. I understand, after the last ethics battle that went through, you wouldn't want to spend, and I don't want you to spend any more taxpayer dollars fighting something that really is just more detrimental, but we're going to expose it anyway. So in that letter,
well, before we go any further, Jamie understands that. I, however, think you're a coward, City Attorney Annie Davis. I think you are.
That's not it.
No, I think he's a coward in this.
No.
I think he was trying to protect the Rome City mayor. I think that he was, because quite frankly, the letter had everything in there necessary to go forward. But because you're a coward and everything you want to do, we are going to give you what you need to go forward with it, even though you're not going to do that in any way of it. So let's take a quick look at some of the evidence showing that our illustrious mayor has actually benefited financially from her fraudulent transactions.
Allegedly.
Right. Because you allegedly commit perjury when you say, I swear and affirm under the oath of perjury that you live in a certain county, and then you sign your name, not living in that county. Allegedly, you commit perjury.
Or even though you're supposed to take $2 every time you do your notary by the law, but you don't, because you want to do it for free. But let's take
a look at this. So here we go, is a quick claim deed notice right here. This is from, essentially, it is a local resident that had filed a quit claim with a local company. So that company's name is right there on your screen. It is Enterprise Investment and Management, LLC.
I noticed that this is another P.O. box with a Calhoun address.
That's odd. Who else do we know that uses P.O. boxes in Calhoun?
For business in Calhoun. Okay. Let's dive deeper.
Let's take another look at this. Oh, wow. Could that be the mayor's notary signature with her seal? But what's that signature in the far right-hand corner?
Oh, I think that last name is Stevenson.
Does that say Rick Stevenson?
Oh, signed as witness?
Isn't her husband named Rick Stevenson?
I'm almost positive that's who her husband is.
So her husband is signing as a witness to a
real estate
notary that she is doing for a real estate transaction. For a company named Enterprise Investment and Management, LLC.
Now, I'm not married, but I share bills with someone, and usually whenever I profit off of something, it goes to the household.
Well, before we go that far, let's take a look at something else real fast. Oh, wow. Is this a LinkedIn profile for someone named Rick Stevenson? Doesn't that say the VP of Enterprise Investment and Management?
Is that the same company that has a PO box that's separate from the PO box that the mayor used for her notary?
I believe it is.
Why do they have so many PO boxes? I'm just asking questions.
So obviously there's a couple of little things there.
Seems like if there was an investigation done, there'd be a lot of evidence that'd be just staring people right in the face.
Especially when you look at this WRGA article that specifically says that Rick has been married to Sunday Stevenson for over 30 years.
Wow. But seems like they've been doing a lot of business in Calhoun.
And it's very interesting since this was signed in 2015.
Yeah, and to be clear, well, there was a concerned citizen who brought this to our attention because this was apparently supposed to be notarized here in Floyd County, but it was rejected. It was supposed to be recorded here, but it wasn't recorded here.
Supposedly,
allegedly.
Yes, allegedly.
But like they said, there's nothing to investigate.
Yes. So let's
okay.
Let's take a moment real fast, and we're going to tie this all together. Let's make this into a nice, neat, pretty little bow for all the cowards and idiots out there.
All right, perfect. Third grade level, right?
Exactly. Mm-hmm. You're learning. Little PR tip there. So you have the notary there. You have their husband signing as a witness. Their witness is the VP of the business entity that is taking over this deed or this quitclaim deed. Okay. That in itself, okay.
That seems to be legit. Okay.
Now, you're looking at the claims that even though the mayor perjured herself for over almost 30 years, she is now coming forward. And well, I mean, she's not really coming forward, even though she hasn't denied perjuring herself. She's saying that she did not take any financial gains or interest on any of these transactions, any of them, none whatsoever.
But her husband seemed to now be in possession of a property currently valued at $115,000 that at the time of this was done was less than $85,000. Equity alone being married, that I'm pretty sure that itself shows that there's I don't know how y'all think marriage works or how anything you all believe financial beneficiaries go, but I'm pretty sure that that's what that was.
Yeah.
Let's see.
So there you go, city attorney. We just did your job for you.
There's some other nuggets in here that I thought were pretty interesting.
Oh, there is one more in there that I want to get to.
Let's keep going.
Okay. So we just learned in the past couple of days that another one of our illustrious city commissioners has had their ethics investigation dropped against them. We've actually had him host on our show. We've actually hosted him on our show before, right?
And remember how he said, I think his words were he tries to stay neutral.
Yes. Well, not only just that, but part of the reason why we brought him on was because he had such a tie to the Republican Party once we had originally brought him on, but he had made double max donations in his wife's name and in his to a very Democrat candidate by the name of Wendy Davis.
Before we go there, though, wasn't this the guy who actually was the first person to come to the Republican Party in a municipal election and ask for help?
Yes.
No other candidate has ever done that before him, but he came to the Republican Party because he feels that you all wouldn't know the difference.
Yeah, and in all transparency, I was on the board that voted in favor of helping him out because I was one of the people that listened to his words before I was actually able to see his deeds. Just like if you sit through a city commission meeting, he says the greatest things out there. He questions all the right things. But when it comes time to actually looking at the voting record, he's got one of the most left-leaning voting records out of the entire commission.
Also, I think it's very important that, when he came on the show, he showed that he was very, he said, I sit in the middle and I max donated to one person and I max donated to another very well-respected Republican. But there was also something in those transactions that we think that the people should know about.
Yes. So those are the two in red are the ones that we're talking about, the max donations to Wendy Davis there. Those, he said, I made those to my friend. I'm not really a Democrat. I just made those to my friend. I'm a Republican through and through.
We have the video and the
literally had the video of him saying this.
So,
but the funny thing about it is, can you guess what Mark Cochran's first name is?
I think it kind of starts with a W.
It may. Actually, it does.
And I think if you look in the blue line under those red lines, you can see that there's a donation to a very interesting organization
known as Act Blue, which is the DNC's national fundraising platform. If you haven't put two and two together yet, we're talking about Willard Marquis Cochran.
That also kind of sounds like, you know how we were always concerned and people thought we were paranoid about the number of Democrats who pulled Republican ballots to kind of slate the elections.
And the funny thing about that is he made that donation prior to Wendy running for office. So before she was even running on the Democrat ticket, his friend, he was donating to the Democrat Party.
So this also brings to wonder why, this is just who I am as a person. The Democrats were meeting at the housing authority. So we kind of stopped that, let them know that they could lose their 501c3 and not be able to get HUD funding anymore if they did that. So they started meeting at the library, but we're not going to tackle that because clearly there are some people, within local government who are trying to make sure that the truth is hidden from you. And
we're not going to fall for that.
All that being said too, it's very interesting that this person who claimed to be a Republican, who went to the Republican Party to try to ask for donations, seemingly is not in the middle at all.
No.
Seems to me like they're a hardcore Democrat who's too scared to come out and just say it.
Yes. And there are no Republican donations on his
none
on his donation filings.
Interesting.
Don't you just love how these things?
I mean, and it's kind of funny, like we've been very, very passive about this, because not even to get involved with the fact that we were asked to do all of this beforehand by someone, but we're not going to go there yet.
Jamie's going to get us in trouble.
I don't care at this point because they've pissed me off.
Well, let's move on. So we were just talking about our illustrious friend, Wendy Davis.
Oh, yeah.
So let's go ahead and bring her
super
right
delegate.
Into this. Exactly. The DNC super delegate. The delegate that could vote for the Democrat nominee of their choice, regardless of what their state delegate said during the presidential convention.
The one who actually
the whole 9 yards.
And if I remember correctly, she was also one of the ones who in 2016 were saying something along the lines of the election was stolen when Trump won.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm almost positive that was coming out of her and the DNC's mouth when stolen elections were not a thing that of disintegrity.
Yeah, and standing out in the election lines in 2020, handing out election integrity cards.
Democrat hotline cards. I also want everyone to know too that everything that's in SB 202, thank you to the Georgia Assembly for putting that bill through. But everything that was done that as far as passing out hotline numbers with cards disguised as giving people food and water because they were thirsty standing in lines. We didn't have long lines in Floyd County, but we still had people with water bottles because, that came straight from the top. Wendy Davis was associated with all of that.
Yeah, especially the cards with the DNC hotline on it. But furthermore, what we were wanting to discuss a little bit with this right here is, so if you're unaware, Wendy Davis actually filed another local ethics complaint here in Rome against a commissioner for something that she knew about while she was a commissioner.
That she voted on the action of. Have to put that in there.
Yeah, that she voted in favor of doing, but didn't come forward and say anything then, but even though she had a issue or problem with it.
Yeah, it was all fine to tear down. Basically, the complaint was that she didn't know that this commissioner was going to be the real estate agent for one of the hotels that was torn down on basically Skis Row in downtown Rome. But I'm very sure that we saw the tape that basically said that everyone knew that he was going to be the real estate agent, that they actually asked him to be the real estate agent on this because
he left the room during the vote too.
Yeah, and
recused himself.
They wanted to make sure that this was done properly. But now all of a sudden, after this person is not on the commission, their Democrat friends are,
getting destroyed
in their reelection campaigns. All of a sudden, she seems to have a moral obligation to file an ethical complaint when she clearly could have done that while she was a commissioner.
Yes.
Sounds like someone's a little butthurt.
Just a little bit. So, that's a little bit about that one. So if you're wondering how these ethical things are going, or these ethical complaints are going now, because of what Wendy Davis has done, they are now having to be filtered through the cowardly city attorney, Andy Davis.
Saying that.
No, not at all. I will never stop saying that, regardless of what you say. That's what it is. Being filtered through him, and he's flat out shooting anything down, regardless of the merit or anything of it, until the new ordinance is passed. That way, the city doesn't have to go through what it's statutorily obligated to do right now.
Interesting time to be alive.
I was about to throw your bureaucrat man tag on.
Hey, I'm just saying, man was tasked with a job. It sucks. But the reality is to Justin's point, regardless of whoever is going through or whatever's being done, this is just kind of being fragrantly thrown and cast aside for the people's interest, because this is the evidence. This is what's going on. Yeah. But they don't want you to know about it. They want to hide it. They want to brush through. They want to make it easy. They want to make it simple. They want to just move on and move past it while corruption is going through your local government. Period.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, it's disheartening to see that this is going on. Citizens can't even file for what they perceive as ethical violations anymore, unless the city attorney, the person who's there to quote unquote defend the city's interest, decides that they can move forward with that.
I don't know, they operate a little different. I wonder if that's direction from the top.
The mayor, maybe?
Or who knows?
The one who had an ethical complaint filed against her?
I don't know. I'm just saying. Stars are aligning.
Yeah, exactly. So, how about let's move on to our next little issue that's grinding our gears.
Oh, we're going regional now?
Regional. Huh. Well, we'll state. Yep, state. Yeah. So the next one is
our known nemesis, the GRA.
So now, to be clear, me personally, I'm not saying that the GRA is bad in any sort of this. I have an issue with members of the leadership in GRA.
Well, and I don't necessarily have a problem with. Well, I take that back. I do have a problem with GRA. It's just, I think it's just top to bottom. I mean, we can start with the local GRA all the way to certain parts of the regional, and that's just me personally, because they've come after me personally for literally no reason. Well, because I refuse to bow to them.
Yeah, the local GRA here in Floyd County, without a doubt.
I mean, what Republican organization comes after the police? Because they were in the wrong. Their members were in the wrong, but they want to come after Rome Police Department. How ridiculous is that? Mm-hmm. And then have the audacity to try to go sit before elected officials and say, will you tweet about us and ask for our help? No, because you're wrong. You have to go get a permit to protest, moron.
You follow the law until you're able to change the law.
That's it. Period. Stop asking. Pay the fine. It's not even that big of a deal. Just pay the fine.
If you hadn't made such a big deal of it to begin with, you wouldn't have even gotten the fine.
You wouldn't even got the fine to begin with, but you would have filed an extension to make this a civil grievance for no reason. The Rome City Police Department and the Floyd County Police Department are two of the best police departments in the state. And you're dragging their names through the mud because you want to be a selfish little prick. I just had to say it. Be a selfish little prick.
Well, there's not much little about it.
It's ridiculous. It ticks me off.
It's even the earlobes.
I mean, it's absolutely asinine.
Mm-hmm. But again,
I think they're being directed.
Yeah. And this gets me to the point of where I come in on this issue. And where I come in on this issue is this one right here.
Who's that, Justin?
So this is one Nathaniel Darnell. Yes.
It's tradition, guys.
Yeah. So if you are in the political sector, or if you are working in politics in general, no matter what you do, if you derive a paycheck from politics or anything involved in the political sector, anything you say, anything you do does not matter, according to this man. Because you are part of the problem. You're part of the swamp. You're part of the whatever. Only people who are unpaid in any of this have any right to say anything on this, or even able to do or change anything.
But Justin, wasn't this individual at one point paid to be in politics?
Yes, he was.
didn't he like have to leave because he was kind of,
ineffective
and out there?
Yeah.
Huh. I wonder why he's mad at people who get paid to be in politics.
Because he was ineffective and couldn't get anything done, and because he couldn't get anything done, couldn't continue to receive a paycheck.
Huh.
Just saying.
Full circle.
Yeah.
Huh. What else you got about?
Well, if you're also a woman, Mr. Nathaniel Darnell does not believe that you should ever serve in any position in politics.
So much so that he actually
published an article about it.
And not just published an article, doesn't he still go out and like send messages to people saying that certain women shouldn't be involved in the process?
Yes, he does.
With no real basis other than the fact that they're a woman who speaks their mind?
Mm-hmm.
Huh.
Yeah.
Huh.
So some of the most effective leaders in politics in the state, in the country, should not be there in his opinion.
Oh, wow. That sounds awful.
Completely sexist and just wishing he was there instead of them. Maybe a little jealous, a little envious there.
Maybe. I wonder if that's why he wants to try to do a separate training from what this GAGOP has asked. Yeah. GAGOP offered up, is giving up free training to anybody who wants to be a political activist and get involved in politics and giving avenues for it. But it seems that Nathaniel didn't like that organization, which is one of the most renowned organizations in the entire country, in the entire world, actually, when it comes to, building leaders, but they wanted to go with a different one.
Well, and let's be completely transparent with this. He didn't want this organization doing that because of the person who was offering the training,
who happened to be a woman.
Exactly.
Wow. Huh.
Happened to be the same woman that he got into an argument with, and his entire reason for her not being able to be involved in the state convention was because she's paid in politics.
Interesting. Did he also, during their I think it was county convention, remove the said person's name off of a list without the committee knowing it? Caused a whole ruckus. Ended up in the paper. We had a couple people send us the article about it. It must be sad. It must be sad, just to think that his opinion actually matters.
Or for him to think that his opinion matters.
What a time to be alive.
Because, I mean, what have they actually gotten done?
Nothing. I think that they actually lost seats the last time they tried to put people up. And technically, I think that they only have one person who they can count as an elected official, but I think he's been ousted by the Senate and the local delegation.
Yeah, pretty much.
For being ineffective.
Not being ineffective, for outright spreading lies.
Oh, wow. I wonder what lies he's been talking about.
Well, we can kind of sum that up with the next topic of what grinds our gears.
Let's get into it.
How about this young man? That's a young picture.
Wow. Huh. Who is that gentleman?
I believe that is Congressman Matt Gaetz.
Huh. Well, Matt, I wonder what's going on with Matt since he's ruined the country.
So, for those of you who are unaware, Matt Gaetz put forward the motion to vacate the seat, which I'll be honest with you, I thought was hilarious what the Republicans did or made him do in order to make this motion to vacate.
Honestly, it's fitting.
They removed the microphones from the Republican side, and he had to make this motion from the Democrat side.
So
which was in the overwhelming majority of who voted in favor of doing.
I mean, I think it's also fitting too, right? Mm-hmm. The leech on the inside of the Republican Party had to go over to the party where he belongs to actually make the motion to have Republicans lose power.
Yes. Yeah.
That doesn't seem real conservative to me.
No. We have become a party that does nothing more than to go in and eat our own.
Yep.
There is no cohesion. There is nothing in there that will allow us to continue to work together. And there is nothing that will allow us to continue to prosper and to grow our party and our base because of folks like this right here. And to be clear, to be 100% perfectly clear, this was 100% personally motivated.
Well, absolutely. I think there was an ethics complaint, or speaking of ethics complaint, right? That's what all this is about when it boils down to it. There was someone who had an ethics complaint about the way he might have been doing something.
Yeah. Transferring money that was not labeled to go into federally insured banks.
And so it would be in his interest to remove the speaker and potentially get rid of his ethics complaint? Because
Mhm.
you shake up leadership, you got to start over. I guess it sounds like a personal interest, huh?
Yeah, it does, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Especially when you're considering stepping down to run for governor for Florida.
And isn't it interesting how all these people are in such an uproar and upset because they think that he's fighting for the country?
He's
when
not.
really he's saving his own ass.
He is fundraising for his gubernatorial campaign.
Wow. Bet you that's a slap in the face. I bet you if you donate to him, you want your money back, huh? You know what I also thought was interesting?
$500,000 in less than a week.
I think it was interesting that, I made note of this somewhere, was that before they even went to recess after the speaker vote went through, he was sending out fundraising text messages.
I got 3 that day.
Wow.
And then
But he's for the people.
Mm-hmm.
Huh, okay. I believe that when meat turns purple and tastes like rainbow sherbet. What is wrong with y'all?
That is, yeah.
It's obvious what he's doing.
It sincerely, truly is.
But you're still buying into it.
So there's something else that is not really being pushed out there very much, and that is, I encourage everyone, and I wish I had it where I could pull it up here, but unfortunately I'm not able to. But look for Thomas Massey's Twitter feed or X feed or whatever you want to call it. Go down to the part where he is talking from the floor of the House against this move to have the speaker seat vacated. Thomas Massey is the only remaining member of the U.S. Congress that has written, sponsored, and voted in favor of removal of a Speaker of the House. He said that this entire thing was a bad idea. He was actually in the room when all of these quote-unquote deals that Matt said that McCarthy had broken were made. Except the funny thing about it is there were no promises made. It was all said that we would work towards doing this. We would make efforts to do this. It was never promised that it would get done. You can't get a lot of this stuff done with such a slim majority in one chamber of Congress.
And we've seen how
you can't do that.
Seen how quick that slim majority will turn on you with 8 people voting to remove the speaker and ruin the country.
With the other side of the aisle. Eight Republicans with over 200 Democrats voting to remove the speaker. That's how the speaker was removed.
Oh, but they'll say, but Speaker McCarthy voted with the Democrats to get the budget done. Well, you know what? I'm all for making sure that the country stays intact.
I will say the CR was a mistake. 100% was a mistake.
Bad judgment.
However, that is not removal material.
No, because you have to have a budget. I don't know. I have a budget. Do y'all have a budget? You have to have a budget for your house.
Mm-hmm.
You have to know how you're spending your money. You have to make sure that you can get to a point in holding the country ransom to try to figure to just say to get to this point, because you wanted the speaker removed to begin with, because he's coming after you for your financial ethics violations. But no, you're doing it for the people.
Which kind of brings me to another issue on this right here. And I hope I'm in the clear in being able to say this. I don't want to step on any toes with anybody with this right here, even though that is entirely what the show is. So I had a conversation with someone the other day. I'm not going to bring it up who they are or what's going on with this, but they made the interesting analysis or comparison saying, why was Congress sent out on essentially what was a 6 to 7 week long recess or break, and then come back, and then within 1 month expected to pass 12 appropriation bills to fund the entire federal government, the overwhelmingly overbloated federal government, for the entire next calendar year? Why would you do that?
You wouldn't.
Well, that's what they did. That's what the new Speaker-elect did. Steve Scalise.
I wonder.
Steve Scalise set the calendar, sent members of Congress out for a recess for 6 to 7 weeks, then came back and they had less than a month to vote on 12 to put together and vote 12 on 12 appropriation bills.
You know, that brings me to an interesting point, right? Like, I wonder with that mantra and that build of a mentality, I wonder where this ethics complaint against Matt's going to go under the new speaker.
Who knows?
We'll see. I mean, since we're eating our own.
Yes, exactly. I mean, gobble gobble. We're doing it right now, but we have good cause.
RM80.
Exactly. So I'll tell you what. Let's take a look at the last one that we're going to do in this, and that is the illustrious Congresswoman Rashida Tlaib. So for those of you who don't know, Congresswoman Rashida Tlaib is a Palestinian birth.
Listen how psychotic this is. Go ahead.
I want to read to you her quote, our quote that she sent out on X, and to her public comment about what happened over this past weekend in Israel. And I quote, "I grieve the Palestinian and Israeli lives lost yesterday, today, and every day, ignoring the humanity in each other." She continued to say, "The failure to recognize the violent reality of living under siege, occupation, and apartheid makes no one safer. No person, no child anywhere should have to suffer or live in a fear of violence. The path to that future must include lifting the blockade, ending the occupation, and dismantling the apartheid system that creates the suffocating, dehumanizing conditions that can lead to resistance." Sounds a little bit like victim blaming to me, don't you?
Sounds to me like someone is trying to scapegoat, because I'm pretty sure that after the attack happened, this is the same person who put up a Palestinian flag
outside
of their office.
Well, I'm pretty sure she had it there to begin with.
Oh, but made sure to take a picture and share it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Doesn't seem like an ideal time to America's strongest ally for someone to make sure that they share a picture of the enemy.
Not just the enemy, but the terrorist that crossed over the border, that beheaded nearly 40 infant Israeli babies, killed over 1,000 Israelis, and killed, I think the last number I saw, 14 Americans.
It's sickening what's going on. You know what I mean? And we have, you know, Americans who are still over there trapped.
As far as I'm concerned, Glass Gaza. Hashtag Glass Gaza.
My heart really goes out to the Israeli people right now, because what's going on over there is really sick. And people can say whatever they want to, but this is if we were ever, like, screw Ukraine, like if we were ever going to pick up arms, if we were ever going to go to war, like, now's the time.
Yeah, Israel is a very close ally to ours. Ukraine, it's just a bunch of,
I mean,
Nazis, you know, that fought for Hitler.
And you know what else is wild? You know what else is wild? Because I keep this in the back of my head, right? We should be sending aid to them right now.
Aid to who?
Israel.
They don't need aid. They can do it themselves.
I know, but we should be sending. We should be helping them.
We have been helping them
more.
How?
Well, I mean, my main point in this is if that we hadn't removed the speaker, all the aid that we've been throwing to Ukraine could have been shifted. That's my only point. But now, since we don't have a speaker, because someone wanted to be selfish, an ally is really had a crisis, and there's no way we can make a decision right now.
When you have the facts, pound the facts. When you have the law, pound the law. When you don't have either, pound the table. That's what you're doing. Oh, man. That was a good one.
I'm just mad.
That was a good one. I will also say I also have a very personal grievance about this. A very public personal grievance, and I've aired my grievance online already in some fashion. I will say that if you are anyone in the ministerial world, I'm not going to name the names. Jamie just took a big, I could hear him tensing up a little bit. I'm not naming names, but if you are in the ministerial world and you fail to actually recognize and take side of the Israeli people on this, if you come out and say, oh, well, we need to pray for the Palestinians too. No, they're the ones that did this to Israel. You stand with Israel as a child of God. You stand with Israel. If your other position is if you have a position otherwise, okay. I won't be going there. And I will make it very well publicly known what you are standing for and what you're doing. And frankly, I think that there's a huge problem with that. I sincerely do. And if that's your minister, if that's what their belief is, I think you need to leave that church, because they obviously are not the minister that they think that they are. That's me. Jamie's getting real quiet on me.
No comment.
But anything else you want to go for shoulders?
I think I covered it. Wow, it's been stressful.
You feel better?
I feel a lot better. It's been stressful 2 weeks, and y'all just been pissing me off.
Not all of you. Not all of you.
Hey, look, I've just gotten to the point to where, like, you know what? We just had to do this show because everybody. I am the nice, friendly person who tries to make sure that everyone gets everything that they need, and that we, find some kind of median. But this is ridiculous. This is ridiculous. The evidence is right here. And I will be dropping this off tomorrow, so you can take a look.
Absolutely, Ray. Live long Israel. Oh, long live Israel. Excuse me.
I'm dropping this information off at the city of Rome, since they want the evidence. Look, they can have the evidence. They can take a look at it. It's going to get dismissed again anyway, but it is what it is, as well as everything else like that. I'm sorry, but this was a fundraising ploy to remove the speaker to make sure that someone else's ethics issues weren't taken up. The DNC has been long involved in local politics, and it's time that the Republican Party stepped up and was more involved in local politics, which is what we're doing. And what else do we need to cover? Oh yeah, go Israel. I'm out.
Well, before you do that,
I'm done.
How about giving us your final thought?
I just did. Go Israel. I'm out.
A little bit of that. Early voting starts next week. Early voting for the election, for the municipal election, starts next week. So if you were sick and tired of watching, no, it's next week. 16th.
I don't know. Maybe tomorrow. I don't know.
It's okay, Mr. Joe Chairman. I got you.
Look. The garbage y'all send me. You know what I mean? I can't even focus on the actual things that need to be done because y'all want to keep sitting here talking about nonsense.
Pound the table.
Pound the table. Matt Gaetz is saving America. Get the hell out of here.
So, municipal elections are coming up next week. They early voting does start. The election day is on November 7th. If you are sick and tired of watching your local municipalities spend your cities, your municipalities into the ground, if you're tired of watching them pass the dumbest things like $150 million middle school project,
or smoking on Broad Street when everybody smokes on Broad Street,
still smokes on Broad Street. Everybody still smokes on Broad Street. There's a law against it. If you're sick and tired of watching them pass dumb stuff like that, I almost said it. Mom would have been mad. Get out and vote in this. Make sure that you voice your opinion and vote these idiots out of office. I mean, sincerely, if you're tired of watching this, get involved and vote. That's all that it takes. Vote them out of these positions. There is not a single city in Northwest Georgia that is Democrat leaning. Regardless of where you are, not a single one. Well, I take that back.
There is one.
There's one.
And it's Rome.
No, it's not. It's Hiram. Rome actually leans 55% Republican
as
in
a city.
General elections.
As a city. As a city.
Yes.
But not in its elected capacity.
No, not in its elected
the elected capacity does not reflect the voter because you had people lie. They've been lying to the people.
The electorate is 55%. There is not a single city outside of Hiram, Georgia, that should be leaning left in any capacity whatsoever.
I'm so bad.
All you have to do is encourage your friends, your family, and everyone else to go out and vote. That's all that it takes. And a lot of this goes away. A lot of the stuff that you have to deal with on a daily basis is because of these idiots in the local offices. Plain and simple.
And here's the thing. You know, we don't take much advantage of early voting, but it's time that we have Republicans flood the polls. Vote early if you can, and on election day beforehand, grab someone who hasn't voted and take them to the polls.
If you vote early, you are then able to focus on getting everyone else out to the polls.
That's it.
That's it. I mean, it's long and short.
It is. I'm done. I'm out of here.
But
it's ridiculous.
And
it's
as
ridiculous.
always,
ridiculous.
With that, this is Conservatives Talking. We'll see y'all soon.